I'd like to call to order the Charter Township of Chesterfield Regular Township Board meeting for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 to order. Could we all please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Berry, could you call the roll?
Supervisor Kersten.
Here.
Treasurer Elliott.
Here.
Trustee Anderson.
Here.
Trustee Joseph.
Here.
Trustee Hornberger.
Here.
Trustee Vosberg.
Here.
Clerk Berry is here.
Item 4, approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Clerk Berry, support by Supervisor Kersten. Discussion. Clerk Berry?
Clerk Berry, aye. Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph. Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Item 5, presentations. We have none scheduled tonight. Item 6, we'll start with department reports. I'll start with board members. Any department reports from the board members? Go ahead. Clerk Berry?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just would like to remind everyone of June the 12th, which is our Shred Day that is coming up. I'm very proud to bring this service to our residents again this year. As many of you know, that began shortly after I became clerk. I realized that the township was shredding their documents on a regular basis, and why couldn't we offer that service to our residents at the same time that we were doing that for the township. And so between 12 and 2, you will be able to bring your documents to the township offices and watch them be pulverized. You will receive some information from us about document management and how to better manage your documents on a go-forward basis. Would like to thank our partner, which was First State Bank, that has been our partner in this effort ever since it has begun. I have received some comments and some calls from some residents asking that we do it at a time in the future when people who work can more easily access this service. And so we are looking at a secondary Shred Day later this year that will be held on a weekend or after hours. So just everyone can look out for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments from board members? Ms. Vanderson?
Good evening. An update from the Parks and Recreation Department as we continue to smoothly operate across all programs and facilities. Our staff remain focused on maintaining high levels of service, executing ongoing seasonal programming, and preparing for upcoming summer events and high park usage as we ramp up the summer season. This past weekend, Brandenburg Park opened with the seasonal splash pad and rentable park structures available once again. In the first 4 days, we sold 610 daily passes. This number is actually lower than we expected due to that cooler weather, as that is a very weather-dependent park we have found. With availability of season park passes at the community center and at the Brandenburg booth, we've sold 425 season passes for repeated entry. And these seasonal passes are currently available for purchase. They're available per vehicle for an unlimited entry to Brandenburg Park for the entire year. There are discounts or lower rates that are offered for both residents and seniors that are age 62 and older. Rentals are also available at the community center for both large and small spaces. We continue to see an increase alongside our programs for use with birthday parties, HOA annual meetings, and playgroup meetups that tend to use our space most often. Pollard Park also has spaces available to the public, renting those 5 baseball diamonds and 4 soccer fields. Our parks are all in good condition, and we continue to hear positive feedback that continues to be received from residents regarding park conditions, as well as our recreational offerings. The newly opened Veterans Community Pathway creates a unique paved pathway, allowing residents to take a break into nature and a piece of history here in Chesterfield Township. I invite you all to definitely visit that new plot of land. Looking ahead into our busiest season of summer, one event in particular we look forward to each year is the Cheers to Chesterfield Festival. This year we welcome back the Bassmaster Elite Tournament to create a unique 4-day international fishing tournament on Lake St. Clair. August 7th through 10th, you can expect Brandenburg Park to be filled with activities for all ages, including food trucks, live bands, cornhole tournament, youth fishing tournament, and more. Please follow the Chesterfield Township Parks and Recreation Department on Facebook, where you can find the event page for this exciting event. Hope to see you all there.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to attend Empower 2025, a comprehensive 4-day conference focused on our electronic records management system, also known as Laserfiche. The experience significantly expanded my knowledge of Laserfiche tools and functionalities. The conference included learning seminars, hands-on labs, a general session, and numerous networking opportunities with developers and local townships and organizations using this platform. The opening general session featured keynote speakers, including the founder and CEO of Laserfiche. Exciting announcements included upcoming AI-powered tools, an overview of Aspire, the online training portal, and upgrades of Laserfiche 12. Throughout the conference, I attended 7 training seminars focused on record management, automation, capture tools, and implementation strategies. Automation helps with repetitive tasks like document naming, folder creation, and movement based on metadata, which will save time and maintain consistency when scanning records. The knowledge I gained will be instrumental in helping to rebuild our repository and apply best practices when creating forms and workflows. I found the lab-based sessions, which were led by program developers, to be extremely beneficial. These sessions allowed us to work with a training module to make real-time modifications, such as adding tokens, metadata, and file pathways. Some future goals include obtaining my Laserfiche certification, working with our vendor and IT department to make necessary upgrades, and to set project timelines to begin the digitization of township records. Thank you again for the opportunity to attend this conference.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'll keep this brief. We just wanted to give a brief update on the fact that we went live last Thursday with our new time and attendance system. We're presently parallel testing that with our current timekeeping process that we have through BSNA. With this new timekeeping platform, we have the ability to clock in from our desk, a mobile phone, or through the time card system that will be installed once they arrive on site. The departments that are in the test phase are the supervisor's office, HR, finance, and IT. And the intent is to have everybody clocking in and out throughout the day to make sure we're exceeding the expectations of our taxpayers and available during business hours.
Thank you. Any further comments, department reports? Move on to item 7, public comments on agenda items only. There is a 3-minute time limit. If you would, please state your name for the record. It is not required, just helps us keep track. Mic is open.
John Speaker, Chesterfield Township. Just a couple quick questions regarding the bill run. Under the supervisor's office, there was an MTA conference, lodging at the Hilton for $691.68. No name, again, attached to who went and who the taxpayers paid for. There was also a governor's luncheon at $110 with no name. Taxpayers have no idea who we paid for. Under general administration, there were headshots done by a photographer at $750. Again, no name on what the headshots, who the headshots were for. And again, under the supervisor's management office, There was another MTA conference lodging at the Hilton for $631.68, a difference of $60 between the two, again, no name and who the taxpayers paid for. So this is an ongoing problem that's been going on for years. Taxpayers, I'm not the only one that's concerned with, you know, how their tax dollars are being wasted and where they're being spent and who are staying at these, you know, luxurious hotels and what we're paying for. So it'd be nice to have that on the bill run. I don't think it's a complicated thing. I think it's pretty simple. I just don't think that this board is very transparent with the residents. So, and it's been an ongoing issue. The other thing that I'd like to talk about on the bill run was there were a couple items on there. When Supervisor Kersten came on, his motto was technology and best practices. He was sold on this BS&A software. The original cost was right around $350,000, and we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 plus now on this. On the bill run, there was a $6,281.64 charge for yearly software that was charged to facilities and operations, and then there was another charge to water and sewer for $82.80.38. I don't recall either one of these coming before the board for board approval. Anything over $5,000, we had a strict policy that's supposed to come to the board for board approval. So again, you know, this board keeps violating their own policies, but it's okay when the board does it, but not when the residents rise up, then it becomes an issue. So the other thing that I would like to talk about is item D. I fully support that. Item E, I fully support Mr. Joseph on that committee. And item H for the vehicle for the new DEA. Thank you.
John Johnson, Township resident. Forgive my voice here this evening. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm here. Resident, founder of the North Gratiot Cruise, chairman of the North Gratiot Cruise Foundation, and longtime business person in the community besides being a resident. I actually go back to opening a business here back in the early 80s where Concentra is today. Many of you were probably in high school at that point in time, but so I've watched the growth of the township and what's occurred here. It's been fabulous. So thanks to all of you for your efforts. I know it's not easy some days with differences of opinions and the like, but that's what makes for a better world. So thank you for that. I wanted to speak today to the appointment of Kevin Hustek to alternate for the Zoning Board of Appeals. The chamber is in favor of that appointment, and so good luck to Kevin in his new role if he should be approved this evening. And then I saw an expenditure for roughly $82,000 for the lighting, the street lighting, and all the other electrical service associated with the overpass at 23 and 94. And we're very much in favor of that. I think it's a great thing. I sit at that light oftentimes going either east or west and watch people try to navigate over the overpass, and it's with great difficulty, so it's long overdue. And additionally, even if it were the case that it were to be done without any lighting, I don't know how well that serves anybody. There was a young man killed on Cotton Road by the overpass some couple of years ago. You may recall the story, and maybe if that had been lit, it might have been different, and I'm not here today to advocate for that necessarily. So we'd like to see that happen. But in addition, I think I'd like to see it go a little bit further. When people walk across that bridge there, either east or west, and navigate, when the pedestrians get to where the roads from the expressways intersect, there ought to be an opportunity for someone to push a button and give them the right of way under normal circumstances within some kind of reason. And then finally, if we had a downtown development authority here in Chesterfield Township, we might not have to have this discussion this evening. The Downtown Development Authority might very well be paying for this, determined by the physical limitations of where that authority might be. But we need to consider a DDA. Our downtown is 23 in Gratiot. That's how it is. We can do better than the way it looks currently. I could envision, I talked to the supervisor and others on the board, Dave Joseph and Cindy Berry in the past, about there could even be with the DDA some type of a bus that runs those four corners there on some kind of timely basis to move people around. I often shop at 23 in Gratiot, and I find myself going to 3 or 4 of those corners on many occasions. Maybe that would be helpful. Maybe it would enhance the overall traffic patterns there in some fashion. It won't solve the problem totally, but it would make it much better than it is. So thank you for your consideration. Have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, Board. My name is Chuck Freeze. I'm with TNT Fireworks, here on behalf of item B, asking for a very, very small 1-hour variance to your temporary sales. This would be for a fireworks tent at Meyer. Years ago, we used to be there before the little strip mall and Olive Garden developed, but there's a little out parcel in the southeast corner we're looking to come back to, and just seeking for the extra hour to 10 p.m. Given this opportunity to speak and ask for variance, like to consider the actual location to where the store is open till midnight and the gas station till 10 p.m. And only seeking that extra 9 to 10 p.m. Given it doesn't even get dark out until 9:45-ish with the 4th of July season, or even just the last couple days leading up to the big 4th of July. So appreciate the opportunity, and I'm here if you had any questions when it comes time. Thank you very much.
Item 7, any more comments from the public on agenda items only? Item 8, the consent agenda. Clerk Berry.
All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the board and will be enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is required by a board member, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of May 27th, 2025. B, approval of the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department. And C, to approve a request by the Department of Public Safety to authorize emergency repairs to the Dispatch HVAC unit in the radio room at the Police Department in the amount of $9,200.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Motion by Trustee Vosberg,
Support.
supported by Treasurer Elliott. Discussion? Clerk Berry.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph. Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Clerk Berry. Aye.
Item 9, public hearings, there are none. Item 10, the regular agenda. Item 10A. Clerk Berry.
Item 10A is to set a public hearing of necessity for the proposed 23-mile sidewalk gap project for June 24th, 2025, the regular Township Board meeting.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support?
Second.
Clerk Berry. Mr. O'Connor?
Good evening. Yeah, this item sets the public hearing for the June 24th meeting. The project that's on the north side of 23, west of I-94, and will connect an existing sidewalk to a future MDOT sidewalk.
And Mitch, just so the board knows, we're in discussions with their MDOT, not us. They're engaging us. They are reconfiguring the entrance ramp to westbound 94, correct? And that'll be part of this.
Correct.
We're designing it with that plan. Thank you. Discussion? Trustee Vosberg?
So, just assuming that they do the change of the entrance ramp, what we're proposing here, if that's done before MDOT ever does their thing, that will not have to be tore up or brought into any problems, would it?
Well, we'll coordinate with MDOT before we start and finish the construction to make sure we align with what they plan on building in the future.
Okay. Meaning that even if they finish their project after ours will not be damaged?
Correct. Yeah, our project will be built first before
Okay.
theirs.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Clerk Berry, to approve item 10A. Clerk Berry?
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Item 10B, when you're ready.
Item 10B is a request for a variance by TNT Fireworks from June 24th, 2025 through July 6th, 2025 in regard to hours of operation from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Joseph, supported by
Support.
treasurer Elliott. Discussion? Trustee Joseph.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, I'm not a huge fan of the fireworks. I think it's by far one of the biggest complaints that we get. But TNT has been a reputable vendor. I appreciate Mr. Freeze coming in and making his case for the additional hour. For those unfamiliar, he is positioned in the Meyer parking lot near the gas station. It is a small request, and I don't think, should any other vendor want to come in and make a similar, that it creates, a big problem. And as I say, TNT over the years has been one of the more reputable vendors. Their site is always clean, and they have security there. They're very conscious of safety protocols, and I think the modest request is within our ability to grant. So, again, appreciate him coming forward and making his pitch.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I have a motion by trustee Joseph, supported by treasurer Elliott, to approve item 10B. Clerk Barry.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott. Aye. Trustee Anderson.
No.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye.
Item 10C.
Item 10C is to approve a request by Autumn Lakes Subdivision for a commercial fireworks display to be held on Saturday, June 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Trustee Joseph,
Second.
supported by clerk Barry. Director Bassett, you want to address this?
This request, we've met with the association this year as well as in past years. We have not had any issues with this. There will be public safety personnel involved, and they cover the cost of the personnel.
Any questions from the board? A motion by trustee Joseph, supported by clerk Barry, to approve item 10C.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Clerk Barry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye. Item 10D.
Item 10D is a recommendation by Supervisor Kersten to appoint Kevin Hustek to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate with the term ending April 23rd, 2027.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support?
Support.
Trustee Joseph. This fills a vacancy. He will be an alternate, but as you know, that board's been fluid, and really appreciate having an alternate on, being available, ready to go. Mr. Hustek is in the audience. We did meet with him briefly. Sir, if you want to make a few comments, introduce yourself so everyone knows. He's been vocal in the community and a fierce advocate, so.
Had to get used to the new setup here. So good evening, board. Most of you know me. Supervisor Kersten and I have had some conversations over the last couple of weeks just to look at ways that maybe I could become more involved. Today actually marks the 4-year anniversary that we've moved out to Chesterfield, my wife and my family. And as I mentioned to Supervisor Kersten, we plan on living here for quite some time, and I've wanted to become more involved. I've taken a step back from attending meetings, but I wanted to become involved in some way, shape, or form, and my entire career is in public service. So for those of you that don't know me, that's kind of the brief gist. I am also the association president for our subdivision, and I was actually just reelected to be the president again last week for another term. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion from the board? I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by trustee Joseph, to approve item 10D. Clerk Barry.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Welcome, sir. Item 10E.
Item 10E is to approve a recommendation by Supervisor Kersten to appoint Trustee David Joseph as the Board Liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term of May 28th, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion. Is there any support? Trustee Anderson? Discussion? This replaces the, one of the boards and commission we had at the library. I think it's better spent now with the trustee on the Parks and Rec and Senior Commission interface as we move forward. So Trustee Joseph has a passion there, and I respectfully asked that he participate in the Parks and Rec Commission. So Trustee Joseph.
Yeah, thank you for the appointment recommendation, Mr. Supervisor. As you mentioned, we have a number of overlap issues that come up on our Senior Advisory Committee, who, those meetings are chaired by our Parks and Rec Director, Ms. Vanderson. Additionally, we have some issues in Parks and Rec Department, and specifically, I think there should be a board presence there as we move forward, talking about programming, budgets. 2 weeks ago, we discussed the possibility of a millage, and the board elected, as everyone's aware, not to move forward with that. But in terms of shaping programming and budgeting, I think it's important to have board presence there. It's where I started, actually, when I first kind of moved into the township. I was listening to Mr. Hustek talk about his involvement with the township. I got involved with the Parks and Rec Board, and it fostered an interest in other areas of township government, and my children were about the ages of your children now, and it was a time that I really do cherish. There was a lot of very good people that served on that committee. Alan Christ, who's still there, is somebody I'm looking forward to working with again, and appreciate the recommendation. Thank you.
We expect big things, as always. Any discussion? I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Anderson, to approve the appointment. Clerk Berry.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Item 10F.
Item 10F is approval of the Senior Citizen Advisory Board bylaws reviewed and approved by the Senior Citizen Advisory Board on May 12th, 2025.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve this. Is there any support?
Support.
Trustee Vosberg? Ms. Vanderson?
So the Senior Citizen Advisory Board is one of our newest commissions that have come on. Each of our commissions are aligned in the same way, where they have bylaws that they adhere to, which shows the number of elected leaders they have, a detailed purpose, and then one piece that the Parks and Recreation Department has added on to the commissions under us, so Parks and Recreation, Beautification, and now Senior, is that they do have to volunteer at least one or join us in supporting at least one program throughout the year. So those are things that you'll see in the bylaws.
A lot of time and effort created by the commission to draft these, so I appreciate it, the diligence done in this. Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Vosberg, to approve item 10F. Clerk Berry?
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
I think you got me twice.
Yeah, I got you twice. We don't go to vote twice, that's okay. Clerk Berry is aye.
Item 10G. I'm sorry. 10G.
Item That's okay. Item 10G is to approve a request not to exceed $82,000 to add 2-inch conduit base plates along bridge and 18 teardrop light poles for 23-mile bridge over I-94 for lighting the pedestrian path that MDOT is installing in 2026.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd make a motion to approve.
Motion by Clerk Berry.
Support.
Is supported by Treasurer Elliott. Ladies?
Good evening. I just wanted to show the diagram behind you. Kind of is a rough draft of what MDOT is proposing for the 23-mile over I-94 bridge. They'd be shifting the lanes and installing the pedestrian walk on the north side of the 23-mile I-94 bridge. MDOT came to us asking if we would participate in the lighting for this bridge, if they did the pedestrian crossing on it. So I'm bringing it forward because they are in their final design phases. Sorry. MDOT also was excited to tell us that they also would like to add sidewalk from on 23-mile I-94 to Nicollet in 2027. So they are very excited to partner with us on this project. It is adding 2-inch conduit, the base plates, and then the 18 teardrop light poles. I do have the picture of what the light poles also look like. They are also LED, and they wanted to go with this particular light bulb because it went down and glared to the ground for the pedestrians to be able to see better when they were walking, and they wanted the safety, especially on the area of 23-mile on the north side where the entrance to I-94 goes onto I-94 and then comes off of I-94. They are going to have push buttons to cross in that area, but they wanted the lighting as well because that area is a little bit dangerous. I did also add into the packet just the preliminary cost for the 2027 extra sidewalk that they're installing, just to show you that they're spending quite a bit of money in the community to make this happen.
Good afternoon. So we just are here to support this. As you know, I'm up here a lot talking about MDOT and cleaning up these corridors, and we just feel that with the addition of the pedestrian walkway and these lights, it will really enhance our area and welcome people into Chesterfield.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Treasurer Elliott.
More of a comment. I want to thank, I know that Karen, you had a lot of effort and time, and you did a lot of work on this, and I really want to thank you for the amount of time that you put in and for pushing this so hard, because I know that MDOT didn't always give you an easy time on that, and they weren't able always to follow through, and I know that this was, the supervisor had this on his list of priorities, and I just want to thank you guys. This is exciting to see finally come to fruition. Thank you.
Trustee Vosmer?
I support this for all the reasons stated. Just question, who maintains those lights? Will that be our responsibility as well, or will MDOT take over?
MDOT takes care of them. DT manages the lights, and it's just like the Jefferson Road Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's same principle there.
So
and I think these lights mirror what that aesthetic look is.
These ones are a little bit different because they're more for a pedestrian, because the light goes down to the ground so that the pedestrians can see where they're walking. Those lights were more traffic lights.
Right. But to your original question.
Yeah.
Right, so our people don't have to be
Correct.
endangering. They have, the DTE has the equipment to do all that. So,
That's
all right,
correct.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I have a motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Treasurer Elliott, to approve item 10G. Clerk Berry.
Clerk Berry, aye. Treasurer Elliott. Aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph. Trustee Hornberger. Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye. Item 10H.
Item 10H is to approve a request by the Department of Public Safety to authorize the purchase of a 2025 Chevy Blazer for the detective assigned to the DEA Drug Task Force in the amount of $39,598.08.
So moved.
Trustee Anderson, supported by Supervisor Kersten or Treasurer Elliott?
Support.
Treasurer Elliott. Director?
As stated, this is a request for a replacement of the DEA vehicle. That vehicle is currently end of life. We will, as we do with our other vehicles, send it to auction. And just as of note, this vehicle and the request is to have these funds come out of forfeiture funds.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the board? Trustee Joseph.
Yeah, just a quick question, Director. In the packet, we were advised that this vehicle that we're replacing will actually stay in our fleet, that it still has some useful life, perhaps with the cadets, or I think Lieutenant Beetham indicated that could be used for a reserve vehicle for training purposes as well as a backup. So are you going to send that one to auction, or are we going to keep it around for a while, do you think?
So it'll eventually end up at auction. To your point, as we do with many of the police cars, other things, we do spend a lot of times where they're not in the as demanding service as the actual on-duty. So most likely this vehicle will be with us for a year or two, and then it will be sent to auction.
And then the follow-up that I had for you was the rate that we're purchasing the car. We get I'm assuming a government rate from Moran. There are no commissions and things like, associated with the sales. It's basically the same rate.
Yeah, we use the
government.
To your point, we use the state bid to
Great.
purchase our vehicles.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the board? I have a motion by Trustee Anderson, supported by Treasurer Elliott, to approve item 10H. Clerk Berry.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Item 10I.
Item 10I is to approve a request by the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement with the City of New Baltimore Fire Department and the Village of New Haven Fire Department in sharing a new public education fire safety trailer at a cost of $17,257. The Department of Public Safety also seeks approval to donate the old fire safety trailer per FEMA regulations.
So moved.
Trustee Joseph, supported by Supervisor Kersten. Chief Miller?
Good evening. The photos behind you show the trailer, which has been delivered to the New Baltimore Fire Department. One of the benefits to this, along with being an updated version, showing the modern hazards that people can confront in their homes, is the fact that we can now entertain a broader public. We can have folks that may be handicapped or have learning disabilities also be involved in learning for fire safety in this vehicle.
Any questions from the board? Trustee Joseph.
Yeah, this is something that Chief Miller and Director Bassett have talked with Trustees Anderson and I last few months during our public safety meetings. It's been a long time in the making and a lot of collaboration between the neighboring communities. Just to refresh the board's memory, this project is a kind of a shared purchase, and the amount of education that this brings, to our township, and to be able to share that with other communities took some doing. It's been lingering around for board approval, primarily because I think not only Director Bassett and Chief Miller wanted to make sure that we were covered, but our township attorney recognized early on some concerns about a potential conflict and brought to the board's attention full disclosure, and I really appreciate the extra time and energy that went into making sure that this was done right. This is a great acquisition for the township at a fairly reasonable cost, and it's an example of what happens when communities share their resources.
Thank you. Any further questions? Trustee Vosberg?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I support this. Could you just explain, it looks to me like somebody could go camping in that thing. Could you just explain what those various modules that we can see on the slide are used for?
Sure. Looking at the first photo here, the side door swings out and there's actually a gas grill. And it's electronic. Nothing on here is, you know, actual and a hazard. There's artificial smoke, there's flickering lights that simulate fire. We also have electrical emergencies. We can simulate how if an adult was in a home, they would learn how to turn the power off and a master switch to a home. There's a television screen that can play videos that show different things. So as people are slowly going around the trailer, we can keep them occupied, delivering a different message from the different stations. And then, of course, as we flip to the next one on the inside, it shows a little mock-up of a bedroom. We can have the kids actually lay in bed and teach them, roll out of bed, don't stand up, crawl low and smoke. This is how to get out. And right on the side view there, the door has a little red panel. That panel is heated. So we teach the kids to touch the door with the back of your hand. And if it's warm, find another way out. So we can run them through all those different scenarios.
Same thing with the kitchen, it's kitchen safety type things?
Just like at the fire station when they're cooking. The toaster will smoke, the pot will cook, and we actually have little rubber chicken wings that simulate food, and you could get burned from grease and things like that.
Very good, thank you. That'll, I think it's gonna be a good addition to our educating our kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? I have none. Great asset, as already stated. I have a motion by Trustee Joseph, supported by Supervisor Kersten, to approve item 10I. Clerk Berry.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Thank you, Chief Miller. Appreciate it. Item 11, addendums. There are none. Item 12, public comments. There is a 3-minute time limit. The public's invited to speak. If you would please state your name, just so we can keep track. Not required.
Good evening. My name is Pat Weiner. My husband Jim is here. Apologize for the old school, but we're very new to this process. We are here to make you aware of we live at 49904 Miller Court. We're here to make you aware of an ongoing issue we've had due to flooding from our neighbors, due to storm waters from our neighbors, which has been, like I said, been ongoing. So we live at 29904. We built our house, he's got pictures, in 2018 and designed an underground system that completely drained our property. Our system worked completely perfect until 2019, when a new build on one side of our apartment, our home at 29900 was granted a C of O, despite ourselves, and our neighbor issuing complaints to the building department due to repeated flooding. Their lack of adequate drainage has caused our yards to flood and our drainage system to overload and fail. However, there have been no actions by our neighbor to contain their water. Every time there's a hard rain, our drainage system overloads and our breaker pops, causing the system to shut down. As a result, we were forced to move the electrical out of its proper place in the drainage crock on a 12-inch riser that exists in the middle of our lakeside yard. It's a trip hazard, and it's also not to code, but we did have approval from Gary to do it. Bottom line, our neighbor's flooding issue and the location of our electric circuit makes our house unsaleable. Our neighbor has had no citations nor taken any actions to resolve this issue, despite constant calls to Gary and Mitch. In order to maintain our property, we will soon be forced to spend additional money to block their water on the lakeside. I should tell you, we have moved the drainage out of our crock. We have also built call it a drainage wall on the street side, which ends up flooding Miller Court because our system just can't handle it. So I'm not sure this is the right forum. We're very new to this process, but we're asking for your help to enforce this building code, which clearly states you must maintain your water on your property. And we would like not to have further expense on our side to make this happen. We did have a good discussion with Mitch this morning. We have hope that some action will be taken. But again, it's been since 2019, and they have had no repercussions, and we have spent thousands to keep our property maintained, and we're out of code. We're not meeting the building code, so if we wanted to sell our property, we can't.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Mitch is back there, and
Yeah.
Gary are available to you.
Yep. Well, like I said, we've been doing this for 6 years, though, and they've yet to have any citations.
Understand.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you for your attention, and
Yep.
thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
John Speaka, Chesterfield Township. In regards to the bill run, as far as the names not being put on the bill run, I was addressed about that issue, and it seems to me that the issue seems to fall on Vicky Bauer. So I don't understand why Vicky Bauer will not put the names of the individuals on the bill run that the taxpayers are paying for. So that should be immediately addressed. Shouldn't happen on the next bill run. And I would hope that somebody on this board, before anything gets approved without a name on it, it shouldn't be approved. So it's part of your due diligence to make sure that the taxpayers' money isn't being wasted and it's being properly spent in regards to that issue. So I think that's a simple fix. I know she's an at-will employee. That should be addressed immediately. The other issue that I'd like to talk about was at the last township board meeting on the millage. So I was happy to see that Trustee Hornberger stepped up and, made it known that the cost of a special election would have been anywhere between $65,000 and $95,000, and that would have been a waste of taxpayers' money, especially in an off year. We've got a federal election coming up next year. That could be put on the ballot next year. Unfortunately, the majority of the board put the cart before the horse when they purchased this building. So there was no funding set up, there was no millage in place, and the majority of the board, in my opinion, was reckless in purchasing this building, especially when a detailed report came out that the estimated repairs were up to $13 million and up to get this building in the proper form that it needs and safe. But I was glad to see that the millage will go on next year and that there will be no added expense on the taxpayers' dime. I heard a lot about enhancing and welcoming people to Chesterfield. That's a great model. I love that. I think a great start would be the Gratiot Corridor, starting from right past Hall Road up to 26 Mile Road. I'd like to see 2 people on a daily basis, one north, one south, picking up anything in the road, trash on the side. I believe that is the main artery of this township. It's on the north end, and I believe it should be properly maintained, and it's not. And the car wash, that car wash is a hot mess and a sore eye in the township.
Any further comments from the public? Bring it up to the board. Trustee Hornberger, start with you tonight. I'm good. Trustee Vosberg.
I'm good, thank
Good.
you.
Trustee Anderson.
For the sake of brevity, I wasn't going to say anything, but I would kind of like know what the township could explore. I didn't catch your name. The situation that you're experiencing with the water mitigation to your property when there's possibly new construction. I can relate to that without getting into it, but I don't know
perhaps at some time very soon, we could see if the township has any remedial things besides, redo it yourself. If there's some advice that we could provide for our residents. Thank you.
Trustee Joseph?
Thank you. I first appreciate the support with the placement of the Parks and Rec Commission, and I'm looking forward to meeting with that group again. Some of the comments, I agree with Trustee Anderson. Mitch and I were kind of looking at each other as you were talking and sort of signaling like, I'd like to talk to you about that, and he's kind of nodding. Mitch is typically very knowledgeable of these things, and so I'm confident that it is not just a matter of, somebody not caring about your situation, but I will look into it a little bit further, and sorry that you're going through that. It sounds like it's quite a mess over there. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure what's going on with the bill run. I thought the names was kind of a resolved issue. I don't, just so residents don't think that board members don't care, the process for getting approved for one of those conferences needs to be something that the immediate supervisor, signs off on. And as we saw tonight, we have Erica came forward and talked about the conference that she attended and why that was a good thing for her department and her as a professional. So I will dig into, what the breakdown is if there's a problem with putting it on the even initials or some acknowledgement. But Ms. Bauer, she has a boss as well, and if she's directed to do something, I'm sure that she will do it. So it's not an issue with her being insubordinate or anything like that. The issue involving the millage, I appreciate the concern over the cost, as we talked about it 2 weeks ago. There is potentially a more economical way to poll the voters. My concern was the ongoing problem with revenue coming out of the general fund to adequately fund Parks and Rec. And there was some disagreement over the purchase of this building, but we have it, and we now have a commitment to it in terms of the maintenance. So before we begin to have those problems, it was my strong belief that we needed to poll the residents to find out what they were willing to fund. So I was not entirely convinced that the cost figures were 100% accurate. 100K seemed a little bit high to me, but it really doesn't matter now because the board spoke, and that's something that we will pick up later. But it wasn't, in my opinion, a waste to go to the voters now. Some saw it differently, and ultimately it was not included. The last comment that I had, Mr. Supervisor, is I continue to receive troubling things from township employees. We have employees that are leaving the workspace in tears. I don't know what's going on. I do tend to schedule some time with our HR director, but I'm very, very worried about the potential liability for the township. The amount of grievances and elected officials who have no business supervising and giving direction to employees really needs to stop. And I realize this is an ongoing struggle, but we're gonna be in some real trouble. I really do think that elected officials should stay in their lane and supervise their own departments, however many employees they may have. But ultimately, the staff report to you, and to hear employees leaving, they don't need relationship advice, marital advice, counseling, life coaching. They just need to be able to come to work and do their job and not be treated with disrespect and hostility. And I really, again, plan to meet with Sarah and talk about this. The amount of employees that are reaching out is really alarming, and it's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Treasurer Elliott.
No comment.
Clerk Berg.
No comment.
Veterans Pathway opened up over last week. It was appears to be a huge success publicly. A lot of public feedback. I gotta thank Josh and Facilities, and all of the DPW and facilities workers to clean that location up and make it presentable. And it is open, and as I said, I think that's a great accomplishment for the township. Capital planning is underway. We've had our initial meetings with department heads. We're moving forward with the 2026 budget. All of the budget is viewable in BSNA for each individual that wants to log on to it and take a look at it. We will be moving toward, we'll publicize the capital plan in the coming months with board involvement. We're presenting the township property evaluation at the next board meeting. That is a discussion that we started right after the first of the year about offloading some township property that may be best suited not in our inventory. I had misstated the HRC study is coming to the next board meeting. There are still one-on-one dates and times available for any elected official that wants to meet with HRC separately and maybe review or have some questions that could be answered. We have several requests into our state and federal legislators for infrastructure community dollars. That is an ongoing process. We've got positive feedback from both state and federal elected representatives. And just a quick note to the trustees, I know Trustee Vosberg and Hornberger have taken up some space, but your township offices are open and available for you guys to use. And if you need extra equipment or need extra items in the office, you can reach out to facilities and they'll accommodate it. Stephanie will get whatever else you need to make your office suitable for you. The employees of the township in the administrative side, we kicked off our semi-annual training in first aid, CPR, and stop the bleed. That will continue. Just to address some comments that were made tonight, Ms. Bauer's not the issue. As was stated, she works for me and she follows direction, and there's not an issue there. The only issue is the one person that keeps bringing it up. All the documents are, as stated, are approved and are available.